Hello and welcome back to some more MTG Vintage Cube. If you're here for Cube content, you've come to the right place. Pick one, pack one in the league. Let's look at this Stoneforge Mystic here. Pretty interested in it. This pack is overall relatively weak. I think another pick could be Snapcaster Mage or potentially Dismember, Stay Open. Let's take the Stoneforge Mystic. White's relatively strong and see what comes around. Ooh, pack 2, Thoughtseize. There's also a Mox Diamond. Bribery's also very strong. I tend to stay away from blue. That's just my own personal preference. I want to take either this Thoughtseize or this Mox Diamond. Let's take the Mox Diamond. It's pseudo fast mana. Sometimes it's a dead card. Let's see if we can do some fast mana white shenanigans here. There's an Adanto Vanguard. That's just a great 2 mana value beater. There's also a balance up there, but white aggro doesn't really want balance in the deck. That's more of a blue-white or white control card. There's a Tanglewire and a Giver. A lot of better cards in this pack. Grizzlebrand's pretty intriguing, but if we want to do the white thing, I think we either want the Tanglewire or the Giver runes. Tanglewire just really gums up your opponent's ability to take game actions because it taps their lands down or taps their permanents down. So if you can go kind of 1-drop, 2-drop, 3-drop, drop a Tanglewire down, you're going to be able to keep your opponent off playing efficiently. Well, there's a Swords to Plowshares. It's about the best removal card in the cube. Also a Lotus Petal for additional ramp. We already have the Mox Diamond though. Let's take this premium removal spell. There's a Walking Ballista, which I do like. Also a Parallax Wave and an Elspeth Resplendent. Parallax Wave can just shut down an opponent's ability to put up defenses, and it can remove troublesome creatures quite nicely. And there's some shenanigans Parallax Wave can do, so we'll pick it up. Parallax Wave usually wheels, though, if you're the only white drafter at the table. So I am not a big fan of Winds of Abandon. I guess we'll take Lurrus here. I mean, there's a Pest Infestation and a Chandra. I love those cards. But we're going down some white aggro drafting here. Ooh, now, even though we are base white, Gaia's Cradle is still effective. It still just creates a bunch of mana for us to use, so I'm happy to play Gaia's Cradle in non-green decks. Specifically white, I think it functions well in white. There's a Dismember wheeling from the first pack. There's also a Figure of Destiny. I guess we'll take Figure, I think, just because we already have a Swords to Plowshares, though I do like a Dismember. Figure's okay, it's fine. Again, because we have the Tanglewire, we're a little incentivized to get some pressure on the battlefield quickly, so that way we can maximize the use of Tanglewire. Here's a Monastery Mentor versus O-Ring. I'm less of a fan of temporary removal spells like O-Ring, so I think we'll pick up the Mentor here. Unanswered, he can take over the game. There's a Vryn. We may mainboard Vryn, but definitely a sideboard card potentially against decks that are really trying to cast a lot of non-creature spells. Happy to pick up Giver Runes now. Nothing for us here. Guess we'll just take a Garruk Relentless. Ooh, Elspeth Resplendent coming around. That card can be pretty useful, giving your creatures first strike, flying, things like that. All right, well, here's an Elish Norn. I think it's important to have top end, even in your white aggressive strategies, because you never want to be drawing dead, and an Elish Norn can just shut the door or give you some breath if you're behind on board. So 1 or 2 really high mana value spells can be quite valuable in decks like these. Here's a Porcelain Legionnaire, just an efficient threat. Really not much else for us here in this pack. So here is a Silverblade, but I think it's a little bit of a liability / slow because you do have to soul bond it with another creature. And then Disenchant's just kind of a sideboard card, but I still think it's probably more useful than Silverblade in the Vintage Cube, so we'll pick that one up. There's an Usher. It's a pretty well aggressive card. There's also a Sword of Feast and Famine. We do have a Stoneforge. Let's take the sword. I'm not a huge fan of swords, but when we have a Stoneforge to fetch them up and to get them on the battlefield for reduced mana value, then they go up a slight bit in value. There's another sword. Also a Mana Tithe. Let's just take this second sword. Council's Judgment is a great removal spell, just cleanly answers planeswalkers or troublesome creatures as well. Ooh, and now we have a choice between Path to Exile, Spectral Procession, Windswept Heath. Well, since we're mono white, I don't need the fetch land, and Spectral Procession may seem like an odd pick, but because we have these two pieces of equipment, they can carry swords quite well because they're evasive. We already have Swords to Plowshare, so we don't necessarily need the other removal spell. And here's a Thalia. Thalia will fit in, though. Sometimes you got to be careful. Thalia will tax you just as much as she's taxing your opponent. So we'll keep our eye out for that when we build our deck. An Oust. Not sure if we'll make the deck. Here's a land tax, also a sideboard card. Yeah, here's that Silver Blade coming around, so we'll pick him up now. And an Usher, yeah. So we're getting all the white wheels, which is quite nice. I'll take a Baneslayer. Baneslayer can be good against other certain strategies. Selfless Spirit for a 14th pick, and then Helena and Helena rounding out pack 2. So we have 23 playables as it stands right now, and a whole nother pack to go. So I'm hopeful we can make a pretty effective and efficient white deck here. Now, I'm not sure I want Chrome Mox. Really, I think it's between Chrome Mox, Gideon's kind of so-so. That pack was okay. Nothing terribly strong in there. Wow, there's a Mother of Ruins and a Phyrexian Revoker. We can just take the other protection creature. Mother considered slightly stronger because she can give herself protection, unlike the giver. Well, there's a Solitude. That's probably the best white card in the cube. So happy to take that. Ooh, and then there's Adeline. There's also a Strip Mine. I'm going to take the Strip Mine here. I'm really hopeful that this Adeline can wheel, and Strip can just be great in a monocolored deck such as the one we're building here. There's Palace Jailer and a Relic Warder, but I will pick up Palace Jailer and not wait for it to wheel. Not a lot of great white cards in this pack. Ooh, here's a Jite. Yeah, I want Spellbinder and Jite, but we got to take Jite. We have the Stoneforge Mystic. Ooh, and a Batterskull. Okay, our equipment suite is looking quite nice here in this deck. Really driven by the Stoneforge Mystic and really happy with that first pick. Yep. All right. So Containment Priest does come around for the sideboard, give us some play against those Reanimator shenanigans. And I'll move the swords to the sideboard to start with and just run Jite and Batterskull, I think. Not much here in this pack for us, but we're looking pretty solid on our deck. Need to make a few more cuts. Ooh, nice. Wandering Emperor coming around. I do like Wandering Emperor over something like Gideon. When we get Adeline back, yeah, this is great. I love Adeline. She's rarely answered efficiently. She creates extra bodies. Here's a Leon and Relic Warder. It's so nice getting these white cards to wheel. It's just going to give us so much depth and choice here as we build our deck. Even Avacyn comes around, which is a great creature to have on top. And then a 15th pick Elite Spellbinder. Oh man, no love. That's a starter. That's gonna make the 23 for sure. All right. Here's how we built the deck. We are topping the curve here with Elish Norn Grand Cenobite and learned that little tech trick from J-Bro himself. Got some great equipment. Umezawa's Jite, Batterskull off the back of the Stoneforge Mystic and just your key white all-stars like Adeline, Palace Jailer, and Solitude. Let's take this white aggressive deck topped off by the Queen Grand Cenobite into the league and see if we can earn a trophy. All right, welcome to Match 1, Game 1. We are on the play playing Gato de Muerte. This hand, I think we need to send back. It's just too slow. One land and a Strip Mine with a lot of 4 and 5 mana value spells. This second one we'll keep here on the back of Solitude and Parallax Wave, and hopefully this Figure of Destiny can get in some work. Guy's Cradle, really hoping to turn that on if we could draw another creature. So we'll play the Figure and pass the turn. Looks like opponent opens up one of my favorite color pairs, Rakdos, and then they Inquisition. Man, that's got to feel bad. We got a 4-drop and a 5-drop there. OP. Love seeing that. That's basically a wasted card on our opponent's side. I mean, they got to look at our hand. We draw planes, so we'll just get in there and pump up our Figure to a 2/2 and pass it back. Swamp comes down on the other side of the battlefield into a Pack Rat. That's an interesting choice since our opponent knows we have Solitude and Parallax Wave. And we draw Swords to Plowshare. So that's a great Swords to Plowshare's target. Let's see if they trade here just by blocking the Figure. I doubt they will. And unfortunately, we will not pump the Figure here. We do need to deal with the Pack Rat, and Swords to Plowshare is just a perfect answer, gaining our opponent only a single point of life. Third land into a demonic tutor. That's always scary. Right now, I would probably put our opponent on Reanimator, seeing that we did see a pack rat. But the scary thing about demonic tutor is I have no idea what they're tutoring up, right? All right, they do decide to fatal push our figure, which not ideal is fine. Like, figure is not really our game plan here. It does turn off our guy's cradle, unfortunately. So with this fourth land drawn, I will just play Parallax Wave. Parallax Wave is very mana intensive for a white deck. So if we get it online now, we'll at least have turns where we can activate its ability. I'm happy to lose just 1 or 2 counters to do nothing, just to save the mana later in the game. Opponent plays Stomping Ground into a Golgari Signet, just ramping out. Looks like they are on green as well, and they'll pass the turn. All right, Monastery Mentor was a nice draw. And now that we have the Parallax Wave on the battlefield, we can protect our Mentor from any sort of removal. So we need to be careful not to F6 through turn here. Plus, the Mentor turns on the guy's cradle. All right, so they go to Assassin's Trophy our Mentor. That's an interesting decision. Like maybe why they don't want to Assassin's Trophy the Parallax Wave. I will spend a counter to save the Mentor there. Now we don't get to draw a land because we fizzled the Assassin's Trophy spell, or we don't get to search and play a land, but happy to save our 3-drop. Ooh, there's Elish Norn. All right. Well, can't really play any of our cards. Unfortunately, Guy's Cradle taps for no mana. And opponent's not doing anything as well. So this Parallax Wave is at least gumming up the board because I figure the opponent's just not playing creatures. Now we do draw Stripmon. I will use Stripmon here just to flash in Solitude. So I'm not going to strip right now. All right, end of turn here, I will flash in Solitude just to turn on Guy's Cradle, as this means we'll have an out to drawing a land and playing Elish Norn next turn. Plus, if we have to, that Monastery Mentor will come back eventually here, and Guy's Cradle will tap for 2. Oh, so they're going to Infernal Grasp of Solitude. I'll just Parallax Wave my own card again. I'm happy to blank 2 of their removal spells just to kind of delay our creatures a little bit. So now that Parallax Wave has no counters, it will sacrifice. We will get both the Mentor and the Solitude back on the battlefield. Don't want to exile a thing with Solitude. Luckily, it's a May trigger. But now we have enough mana to play Elish Norn. So here comes the Queen. Grand Cenobite coming down. Got an answer for this one, opponent? Doesn't look like they do. They've used 3 pieces of spot removal, actually. And they may be out of removal for this Elish Norn. Yeah, there's no plays from the opponent. We draw another land. I will strip now and take them off of a little bit of their green mana. And we can get Mother of Runes down here end of turn and swing in for 13. I'll actually hold Mother of Runes here. If there's a board wipe, I'm going to want a creature in hand. All right, that's it. Game 1 down. Elish Norn making it happen. Right, game 2 on the draw. Ooh, 2 lands and a Jite. We do have a Figure of Destiny. We can keep this, I think. If we draw a Plains, we'll be in great shape. Opponent leads out Blooming Marsh and passes. We do draw Plains. Awesome. Now, this is kind of an interesting decision. So since our opponent led out with a non-basic land, I think strip mining could be pretty effective here, taking our opponent off a color. It does kind of take us off our own mana, but we do have the Figure in hand. This is a high risk, high reward play. We'll see if it pans out. If we don't get any other lands, then I'll be pretty sad that I used the Stripmon. All right, opponent then plays Finhorn Elves. They must have drawn that, otherwise they would have played that turn 1. All right, we do not draw another land yet. Let's attack. I'll just trade here and play Adonto Vanguard post-combat. Doesn't look like our opponent wants to trade. All right, let's get the Adonto down. If we get a 3rd land next turn, then Adelon's just going to get slammed down. 4 mana available for the opponent. Into Ravenous Chupacabra. They got to target the Figure, right? Because I'll just give Adonto Indestructible. Yeah, they do. Okay. Good value play there from the opponent. All right. We do not draw a land. All right. Well, I don't think I want to play Thalia right now. We'll get in there. Thalia's going to tax kind of 3 of the cards in our hand. So I'd rather just get down the Jite. If we can get Jite on next turn, this is really going to be awesome. Opponent plays Arid Mesa and immediately fetches, getting the red source. And playing an Elder Gargaroth. Okay, well, now we cannot get through with the Adonto Vanguard and the Jite. I want to Council's Judgment that Elder Gargaroth, but we're going to need to just rip a land off the top here. Yes, all right, we got it. Still a little bit of a slow play here. But now we can get in and make sure that Gargaroth doesn't get any value. And we're still winning the race here. 3 more damage to the opponent. Yeah, having a GT on a creature that's basically indestructible is pretty nice. Our opponent does play Pack Rat, and they do have the 3 mana to activate. Oh, no, they don't. They're going to attack with the Fyndhorn Elves. That's got to be a mistake. I think they would want to save that Fyndhorn Elves to activate Pack Rat to discard ability and make another Pack Rat. We draw a 4th land. This means we can equip GT, which we definitely want to do, and we can play Thalia. I'm playing Thalia pre-combat just to tax any of the opponent's kill spells they may have in hand. We do connect with the GT, so we're going to immediately kill a Pack Rat, and we'll kill the elf as well. GT, so broken. All right, they go to Fatal Push the Thalia. Another land from the opponent, but they're only down to 2 cards in hand, and they need to deal with this GT. This GT will take over the game. I don't expect our opponent to attack here. Yeah, no attacks. Keeping their Chupacabra back on defense. We draw a 5th land. I think I'm just going to save the Wandering Emperor here, as we can flash it in and give our Vanguard first strike. All right, they do decide to block. I will do this, even though we could give our Adonto Vanguard indestructible. Maybe it'd be better to save and just pay the 4 life, since we do make GT counters. 2 more counters go on the GT. Looks like our opponent has a response here. Ooh, they want a Makeshift Mannequin. Okay, I'm kind of glad I didn't just pay the 4 life to begin with, and I used the Wandering Emperor, because this is going to save us 4 life. So we will make our Adonto Vanguard indestructible in response to that trigger, and pass the turn back. All right, no plays, no attacks by the opponent. We draw a 6th land, so we can get Adeline down, which is going to represent another attacker, and the opponent concedes the match. All right, quick games there. Let's head into match 2. Here we are on the play. This hand's a keeper. We have Strip Mine, Figure, Stoneforge. Let's lead out on the Mother of Runes so we can get rid of her Summoning Sickness as soon as possible. Opponent leads out on a tapped Tar Pit. That looks like a pretty juicy Strip Mine target, if you do ask me, because we can Strip Mine and still get the Figure down. So say goodbye to your land there, opponent. I'm not going to attack with the Mother. I want to keep her protection ability available. Red mana now from the opponent, so little Grixis. We draw Swords to Plowshares, but this is going to be a perfect opportunity to get the Stoneforge Mystic down. So I will not pump the Figure here on attacks. And we'll get down Stoneforge, and I think we just search up the Batterskull here. The opponent has red, and the lifelink may be relevant. There's no creatures yet, so not sure if we need GT. Plus, we're holding Swords and Solitude in hand. Blue mana comes down into a Portent, and then opponent passes. Opponent draws a card on our turn. We draw Tanglewire. Okay, I want to get this Batterskull down. We could get Tanglewire down this turn, but we wouldn't have a lot of pressure on the battlefield. So let's pump the Figure, and then we'll plan to activate Stoneforge to get Batterskull on the battlefield at the end of our opponent's turn, and then we can Tanglewire next turn. And that should be pretty good. We'll have a Batterskull and a bunch of other creatures to put on pressure. All right, opponent brainstorms. Ooh, into Mox Ruby, nice. Into Black Lotus. Sax Lotus for blue. Into Frantic Search. Okay, looks like our opponent's on Storm. Yeah, Tanglewire would have been a great play to tie up our opponent's mana. Let's see if they can go off this turn. They don't have any black mana for Yogg-Will, which would be really scary. Oh, but they do decide to do a Mind's Desire for 5. All right, well, let's see what they hit. Expressive Iteration, Island, second Island, Seething Song into a Time Twister. Well, that's not super scary. So they will cast Seething Song, get 5 red mana. And they will cast Expressive Iteration. But they really don't have any blue mana for something like Brain Freeze. They may have that red Storm card that deals damage for things in our hand. Ignite Memories, I think it's called. That could be bad. We'd probably lose to that, to be honest. All right, there's the Time Twister. Yeah, in response here, let's get the Batter Skull on the battlefield. And hope our opponent just whiffs here. We don't have any more instant speed plays. Okay, Ragavan's not scary. And then they just go to their next phase. They couldn't spend their mana. Yeah, that was a whiff. It was a nice try by the opponent, but it was a whiff. All right, drawing Mox Diamond's pretty sweet. We can play that. We can also play Strip Mine here, get rid of their blue source. And then we can play, I think we just play Parallax Wave maybe and get in there for a bunch of damage. That would be a 3-turn clock. Let's just do that. This lets us attack right now. And we get in there for 7. So we got them on a 3-turn clock, 2 more turns. They do have another blue mana to play, and then they just pass turn again. All right, well, we can get Mentor down, and we can cast Spectral Procession here pretty easily. I'm wondering, let's see, if we pump this Figure of Destiny, though, it becomes a 4/4. I can actually attack for lethal this turn then, if I attack with everything. I kind of want, I'll give him one more turn. This may be a mistake, to be honest with you. So instead of attacking with everything and pumping Figure, we'll just play the Mentor, and then we'll get the Spectral Procession down, triggering Mentor, and a bunch of 1/1 flyers. Yeah, maybe it would have been right to attack with Mom there and pump our Figure and try to just win that turn. All right, ended up not mattering, though I'm thinking that my decision may have been incorrect. All right, up against Storm going into game 2. We are on the draw this time, playing against Storm. Let's see if we can make this quick. This hand, I think, is a mulligan. If we had a second land to pitch to Mox, I'd keep it, but just a Figure by itself is not strong enough. This hand will keep. We have the Vryn Wingmare. Really value that card against the combo deck, as it's going to really tax our opponent's mana base. Okay, turn 1 Monkey is not ideal. Luckily, we do have the turn 1 Figure to counteract it, and I will snap block Ragavan. I think our opponent may have been better off dashing Ragavan next turn. Who knows? All right, they do play a Steam Vents untapped into a Portent. Now, I'm wondering if we play Stoneforge Mystic here or if we strip mine their blue source. Let's get Stoneforge down. It may have been better to take them off of their blue source, especially seeing we drew a 3rd land. I think that may have made more sense. This is the most aggressive line, though, in terms of dealing damage. All right, glad we didn't strip mine because there's a second blue source from the opponent. Now, though, I think we can play strip mine, and let's just take them off their Steam Vents because my plan is to put the Batter Skull in play at the end of our opponent's turn. See, and this is where Gaia's Cradle is really coming in great because we'll have 2 creatures on the battlefield here, and Gaia's Cradle will tap for multiple mana. All right, so let's get the Gaia's Cradle down now, and let's just get the Vryn Wingmare down. I want to tax any plays our opponent's going to do. Does resolve, which is nice to see. We'll get in there for 5. I think getting Selfless Spirit down next turn is just really going to give us a lot of insurance against board wipe and removal. All right, no plays again by our opponent. There's a Spectral Procession, but I do think getting the Selfless Spirit down is more important. And we can actually cast, now that we got the Selfless Spirit down, we can actually cast Spectral Procession. Could have gotten the Procession down post-combat, but it ended up not mattering. We took down Storm, 2 matches down. Let's head into match 3, the finals. Here we are, match 3 in the finals, playing against Clumsy Tumsy. All right, well, I think we're going to have to mulligan here against Clumsy, as this hand does not look like a keep. Again, another land, this would be a slam keep because we can get a Danto down turn 1. I guess we'll keep this. Let's put back the 7 drop. It's really more mana than it looks like because we do have 2 creatures that we can play, which will turn on Gaia's Cradle. So we'll get Mother of Runes down turn 1 again, just like last match. Get her Summoning Sickness out of the way and see how we fare against this opponent who leads on Island. All right, second land for us. I'm going to, I think, hold Relic Order for now. Because our opponent played a blue land, I feel a bit more confident to attack with Mother of Runes, but we're not going to do that. Let's just hold Relic Order. If we get Relic Order down turn 3, that's about the same as getting it down turn 2. Relic Order being really a utility creature. Okay, opponent plays Mountain into Young Peasy. All right. Well, now I want to get Relic Order down just to turn on Gaia's Cradle next turn, as we'll be able to cast Elspeth Resplendent off the Cradle. Hopefully our creatures can survive. They should be able to with an untapped Mother of Runes. Opponent plays DRC, so definitely some Izzet spells here across the table. The question is now, are we going to run into a counter spell? I feel like they're holding up Spell Pierce or Mana Leak, and that we're kind of running into it here. Yeah, feels bad. Called it. There's the Spell Pierce, double trigger on the PZ and the DRC. We could have just played Palace Jailer, which would have played around Spell Pierce, and that may have been better, as that would have provided additional mana for Elspeth off the Cradle with 3 creatures in play. Yeah, probably a punt playing into open blue mana like that, especially a 5-drop with no way to play around like Spell Pierce or Day. So we'll put that one in the lesson books and plus up the punt counter. All right, opponent now plays Sword of Fire and Ice, triggering the DRC again. Opponent does put opposition into the graveyard, something to be aware of for future games. All right, we get a Mox Diamond. Less than ideal. I'll probably hold it just to trigger Prowess off the Mentor if we get them. Let's play Palace Jailer. I guess we'll take the... I don't want the DRC to flip into a 3/3 flyer and have Sword, so I'm going to exile the DRC here. This will give us the Monarch, and hopefully we can draw into some answers. Would love to have Elish Norn now. Maybe we shouldn't have put Elish Norn back. And we get a Tangle Wire off the Monarch draw trigger. All right, Thirst for Discovery. Again, triggering Young Peasy. Young Peasy doing some decent work over there. We need to be careful to not let an attack get through. Ooh, and then opponent's going to Phantasmal Image. I expect them to Phantasmal Image the Jailer. Yeah, they do. Okay, what do they exile? They exile our Jailer. I don't know if that's right, as we may get a second trigger if we get the Monarch back. But we are facing down 5 creatures now to R2. Yeah, Elish Norn not coming. We know she's at the bottom of the library. So let's just get out Usher here. I'm going to hold the Tangle Wire. I'm kind of bluffing a spell. Tangle Wire isn't going to do anything on our opponent's board. They just have so much mana and other creatures that they can tap to it. And Tangle Wire may prove more useful in the future. So we're just going to hold it for now and pass. All right, opponent hard casts Light Up the stage, triggering PZ again and DRC. Really hoping that DRC does not flip. She does. Okay, there are 4 card types in the graveyard for our opponent, which means they'll be able to get in there with the flyer and the sword, which is pretty important. So here's 5 damage coming at us. Opponent will draw a card. What are they going to target with the sword trigger? Mother of Ruins. I cannot protect Mother of Ruins because that damage is coming off a colorless source. Opponent draws another card off Monarch. Kind of snowballing out of hill here. Ooh, we draw Parallax Wave. That may be incredibly helpful. So I'm going to target the tokens for sure. If we target their Phantasmal Image, it'll sacrifice. We still need to get our Monarch back. And definitely a mistake on tapping for us. We should have tapped the Cradle and left up 2 white mana so we could boast here. So another punt on our side. And that may matter because each creature matters in terms of attacks and defense when we're trading the Monarch here. Because we do get the Monarch back, we get our Palace Jailer back, which is going to exile the only available target, which is the DRC. So again, not sure that our opponent should have exiled our own Palace Jailer with their Phantasmal Image. Let me draw Selfless Spirit, end of turn. So opponent's got no creatures on the battlefield. They'll have 1 more turn before Parallax Wave pops. Oh, okay, so opponent also plays Deceiver Exarch. So are we playing Kiki Twin combo here? It looks like we are. And they choose to untap an island into Splinter Twin. Okay, we can fizzle this. We have a counter on the Parallax Wave. I think our opponent missed that one. I think that's definitely a punt by OP. They go for the win. They should have waited at least 1 turn for that. Maybe just equip the sword. All right, well, but now our Parallax Wave has no counters on it, so it will pop, putting their creatures back onto the battlefield. Yeah, again, here the fact that we didn't boast matters. And then opponent taps our Palace Jailer. We draw Mentor. Let's get the Mentor down. Glad we held this Mox Diamond, as we'll be able to play the Tangle Wire, and the Mox, triggering Mentor twice. Yeah, that's a lot of Monk and Prowess triggers. I love to see it. No attacks. Let's hold back. Try to maintain this Monarch. We are going to have to fight through a sword here, unfortunately. So we are tapping some of our opponent's mana down, which is nice to see with the Tangle Wire. Let me play Scalding Tarn into Sower of Temptation. No, I think they're going to take the Mentor. They do. Well, that's a problem. That flyer is really the problem there because we don't have any ways to deal with it right now. I guess we'll play our Selfless Spirit and plan to trade. As long as we can maintain the Monarch, we'll be doing okay. Ooh, and then opponent Treasure Cruises, triggering both Mentor and Young Peasy. That's gross. I mean, grossly awesome, but gross. Oh, Elish Norn would be so great right now. All right, we'll stack our triggers appropriately here with fading on the stack first. All right, we draw Swords to Plowshares. That's actually pretty important. So let's not misorder here, as we don't want to get our own Thali attacks. But we can get the Selfless Spirit down, and we can Swords to Plowshares, the Sower. I think we should do this now just to play around counter magic, and we probably should have done it before we switched phases and lost our mana pool, because if our opponent dazes this, that's going to feel really bad. Plus, that would have triggered our prowess on our monks. Yeah, definitely should have done that pre-combat. Definitely another punt there. Solitude was an amazing draw, however. Anything we could do to keep, Kiki Twin from resolving or our opponent connecting with a sword will be very important. So I think I want to hold this Solitude in hand just to play around Kiki Jiki. All right, opponent abrades, triggering Peasy again. What do they abrade, though? They're abrading the Palace Jailer. I don't think they know how Palace Jailer works because it doesn't matter if it dies. What matters is taking the Monarch. Okay, Hellrider is quite an aggressive play here. It's going to be a lot of damage. Opponent Portents again, just another trigger for both their Prowess Monk and Peasy. So I'm going to be a little bit greedy on my life here. I'm going to wait to hard cast Solitude as I think the life gain is going to matter. So we're about to take some damage. Yep, there's some attacks for free damage off the Hellrider. We're letting this happen. We could have evoked Solitude pre-combat. I'm going to double block the Pestermite here, get that combo piece off the board. We'll sack the Selfless Spirit, keeping our tokens around, importantly, which means Gaia's Cradle will still top for a bunch of mana. All right, so we'll again order our triggers appropriately here, remove a counter from fading, and see what we draw. Adonto Vanguard. So we can play both the Vanguard and the Solitude. I'm going to play the Solitude first, just to play around days. All right, Solitude resolves, so Hellrider gets out of here. And then we'll play Adonto as well. We are still maintaining the Monarch, which is super important. It's what's keeping us in this game, keeping us ahead slightly. Adeline was another amazing draw there, as she's going to represent a serious threat for the opponent. I expect our opponent to start equipping Sword here soon, though. Okay, opponent casts Zealous Conscripts. Great card. That means they're going to have 6 attackers. So that means they're going to take the Monarch back here. We just don't have enough blockers, which means they will get DRC back. There are still 4 card types in the graveyard, which means their DRC will have flying. And that is a problem. All right, what to do about this attack now? I don't want to kill the Solitude. That will come back to us. I think we just throw a Monk token in front of the Zealous Conscripts. That'll save us 5 life. I don't really want to put the Vanguard in there and use 4 life. So how does this look? So we'll take 3, go down to 8, pay 4 life, go down to 4. Yeah, I don't like that. Yeah, let's not block with the Vanguard. This will just be 4 life total, go down to 7, go down to 6 here, but we keep a token. All right, let's block this way. Yep, there's some Monarch triggers. DRC comes back. We will get our Solitude back, which will be important. But I'm a little worried about that sword on the DRC. Interesting how opponent didn't move sword over to Young Peasy, just as a blocker. All right, yep, Plains is the next draw. So let's get Adeline down. And we will go to a pretty big attack here. Luckily, Dragon's Rage Channeler cannot block. Adeline will trigger. We'll get a human soldier. All right, looks like opponent does want to trade with the Solitude, which I'm happy to just gain the life, and we do get Monarch back. And we should keep Monarch. Well, no, we won't keep Monarch here because DRC has flying, and we have no way to block a flying creature. Ooh, Council's Judgment was a great draw. So the question is going to be, do we exile DRC because it has flying, or do we exile the sword? I think I want to exile DRC. Opponent plays Recruiter. Let's see what they fetch up here. Let's see if they do have Kiki. No, they have Pestermite, so they have the other part of the combo. They may have Kiki in hand. We may just be dead here soon. Yep, as expected, sword moves over to the Channeler. This is going to be a hit here. We're going to go down to 2. I expect them to just ping us for 2 here. Maybe they'll kill our mentor, not sure. Monarch flips back, trigger off the Sword of Fire and Ice. Yeah, they just deal 2 damage to us. And they draw another card. Kind of important to note that opponent only has 4 cards left in deck. They've drawn a lot of cards somehow here. And they're drawing another one because Monarch is not a May ability. And we are at 2, super dangerous. So I think we need to take care of the Dragon's Rage Channeler. It's their only creature with evasion. And that'll leave them with 4 attackers. So we need to be careful about our attacks here. We really don't have a great attack. We're going to have to let our opponent just stick with the Monarch a little bit longer. And in fact, I'm going to do this on purpose because the opponent keeping Monarch means they may deck themselves. As long as we dodge a Kiki Jiki, we'll be okay. I mean, they're probably going to deck themselves before I can deal them 19 damage. All right, they flash in Pestermite. Okay, I forgot. Yep, Pestermite's got flying, which means it has evasion, can carry a sword if it needs to, and that's damage. Okay, we're down a game here in game 1. We're playing Kiki Twin. All right, game 2, we are on the play this time. This hand is a little slow. I think we can do better. This hand will keep, and we should just put the sword back because we do have Stoneforge Mystic. I did bring in Sword of Fire and Ice from the sideboard just because we are playing red-blue exactly. And that's kind of one of the play patterns why I don't like sword, because it's incidentally hosing our opponent just because they happen to be playing red-blue. I didn't necessarily make a great draft decision drafting that sword, but I mean, we got it, so we're going to use it. Lead out on plains, hold up swords to plowshares, and pass. Opponent comes out Mountain Mox Diamond, so starting out strong. PZ turn 1. Our strip mine looking pretty bad. I'm going to take care of PZ now. I don't want a bunch of tokens flooding the battlefield. You know, we could strip our opponent here because we drew that second plains. They've already ditched a land for Mox, and if they don't have any other lands in turn, they may not have a lot of great choices for mana. Yeah, they don't play a land here, and they start with a Portent. Now, I think it's super important that we maintain this Solitude in hand to evoke it in case our opponent tries to do the Splinter Twin combo. So we'll get down Stoneforge Mystic, and we'll search out Sword of Fire and Ice. All right, land does come down here from our opponent, and they Unholy Heat our Stoneforge. All right, so we're going to have to pay the full cost for the Sword of Fire and Ice. There's a Mox Diamond. Not the greatest. I will hold it again just for prowess with Mentor. And we're kind of in a spot here. We need to draw some lands for sure. One more plains and we'll just slam Spectral Procession. Nice. Right on time. Let's get Spectral Procession down. Our opponent did not play a land drop, so I am pretty happy with our decision to strip their land. Yeah, Mox Diamond is not free because you do have to pitch a land. It's dead card kind of in our hand right now, and our opponent had to pitch lands to play it, which is why they do not have great mana right now on turn 5. So they cycle Shark Typhoon for no shark just to hopefully draw a card. Doesn't look like to find the land they were looking for. And yes, here is Relic Order, much better than Sword right now. We can exile their Mox Diamond. Even if they get it back, they will have to pitch another land, which they do not have. And we're just going to hose our opponent on mana. Get in there with our 1/1 flyers and pass the turn. All right, no land drop again. We get Elite Spellbinder. That's probably going to be lights out. Let's see what's going on over there and tax anything they're close to playing. Mizium Mortars and Phantasmal Image. Yep, nope. Let's get rid of those. Okay. And opponent concedes the game. All right, here we go. In the finals, game 3 for the trophy. We are on the draw. Let's keep this hand. Finally, a Mox Diamond that does something. Hope to draw a third land, though. We will need it. All right, there it is. I'm going to hold Mox Diamond for now. And next turn, planning to play Mox into Elite Spellbinder. Jite was also a fantastic draw. We'll play our Mox, pitch a Plains, and let's get this Spellbinder down. See what's going on. Formulate a game plan. All right, opponent does have Splinter Twin. That is important to note. Splinter Twin and Hellrider. If we draw another land, we'll be able to get Jite active next turn. And if we don't, we'll just play Mentor. All right, there's the land. Yep. Jite is going to come down, and we're going to start accruing some value here. 2 counters on the Jite. 4th land from the opponent, expecting Hellrider. No, a Braid on the Jite. Yeah, that's pretty smart. So we'll gain our life. We draw another Plains. I'm a little tempted to just play Palace Jailer into an empty board here. Let's give it one more turn. We'll get in there with the Spellbinder for 3 more damage. What I'm really worried about right now is just losing to the Kiki Twin combo, as we're pretty soft to it with our Sorcery Speed Council's Judgment. All right, Phantasmal Image. What are they going to copy? They're going to copy the Mentor. Interesting. That's a pretty good Palace Jailer target. And there's Swords to Plowshares as well. I'm going to actually play Council's Judgment here, as it's going to trigger our Mentor to make a Monk and Prowess. And we will hold back the Swords to Plowshares here to disrupt any combo. All right, there's Young Peasy. Yeah, not going to use Swords on Pyromancer. And then they Thirst for Discovery, making a token, looking for those combo pieces. And then Unholy Heat, our flyer. Yeah, they're stabilizing for sure. There's Land Tax, which we brought in because we from the sideboard because we were on the draw this game, and it will trigger both Prowess with making another Monk, and our opponent does have 6 lands on the battlefield. I'm gonna hold Palace Jailer here again, as I want to have access to swords, and so I do not want to tap out. Tapping out here would be the wrong decision, I feel. Because I think, again, the only way we lose is to the Kiki Twin combo. Portent again, triggering Peasy. Our opponent's deck is built really well to trigger Young Pyromancer. I really like it. With all those tokens, I mean, I can see why they're running opposition. It would be pretty strong if it was on the battlefield right now. And then they Treasure Cruise. Wow, that's really great. Now remember, they do still have Splinter Twin in hand. And then they Mizium Mortars our Mentor, triggering PZ again. Yeah, we're just going to have to let this happen. There's nothing we can really do about that. We got a pretty healthy life total here. They get in there, we'll just take it. Now we will trigger our land tax, which will get a bunch of lands out of our deck. Here we go, Plains. And we draw a Spectral Procession. It was pretty nice, actually. Let's get Spectral Procession down first before we try to play a Jailer, as that's just more bodies to block with. Plus it triggers our Monks, and I'm happy to trade here. Yeah, I'll trade your 2 tokens for my 1 token. And again, we will just hold up Swords to Plowshares. Opponent is at 4. They have to feel the pressure. But again, that can change at any second here with the combo. All right, there's the Deceiver Exarch. Are they going to go for it? We can pay for Spell Pierce if they have Spell Pierce. All right, they're going to target a Mox Diamond. We will float a white in response just to play around Spell Pierce. Looks like they're going for it. Yep, Splinter Twin on the Exarch. Swords to Plowshares in response. And they do not have a counter spell for that, so that resolves. 1 combo piece down. Now they did gain a couple life, so we do not have lethal right now. We will get some more of these Plains out of our deck. There she is. Elish Norn. That'll seal the deal. Breaking up the combo. Finishing out with Elish Norn. Taking down the trophy. That was a heck of a match. Loved playing it. And as always, thanks for hanging. Thanks for chilling with me here. Don't touch that dial and let's keep cubing.